Hi, my name is Nick, aka the Coffee Detective, and today we're going to look at this Breville Brewer. It is called the Grind Control, and I'm just going to run very quickly from top to bottom, and then we'll go back and look at things in a little more detail. So it's called the Grind Control because it grinds the coffee as well as brewing your coffee. You put your coffee in a hopper up there, you do your settings here. You have your filter here, thermal carafe here, and when you get started what happens is that first it grinds the beans and heats the water, and then it brews the coffee into this thermal carafe. So why bother with a machine that does both, that does the grinding and the brewing? A couple of reasons. One is because hey, it's not a small machine, but it's smaller than having a brewer and a standalone grinder. Why bother with the grinder? Because coffee loses its flavor very, very quickly, almost immediately after you finish grinding it. So the amazing thing here, the wonderful thing here, is that while the grinder is grinding and the heating element is heating up the water, when the ground coffee goes into the filter, it is immediately then saturated with water. So all of the flavor that might otherwise escape is in fact being extracted by the hot water and goes down into your thermal carafe, which is wonderful. So let's go back up to the top, and I'm going to just go through some of this stuff in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to take the top off. I've got this unlocked. I'm going to lock it again in a minute. I just want to take this out and show you. You can get about a ½ pound of coffee in here, and then in here, I'm just going to take it out for the moment. Here is the top half of the little burr grinder. So this is a steel burr grinder, which is what you want. You don't want a blade grinder, you want a burr grinder. So I've locked that back in place. I'm putting that back in place. I am locking it, which means now that the bottom of the hopper is open, and I can actually adjust the grind up here. Now, to begin with, when I was looking at this, I was saying, hey, it's kind of silly of them, they don't put a kind of line here so I can see. What I hadn't noticed was that I actually can see it on the LCD screen here, so I can go from a grind size really small at size 3, or really big at size 6. You probably want to start off in the middle at about 4 and see how it goes. Why bother with changing the grind size? It gives you a certain amount of control over the extraction of the coffee, over the strength of the coffee, and you're just going to adjust that according to taste. Right, water. The water goes in here. So you just pour cold water in here, and again in the display on the left here, it's actually telling me I'm at 5, I'm at 6 cups, 7 cups, 8 cups, 9, 10, and 11. There's also a little red float in here that warns me when we're getting to the top, so I closed that up. So this is a 12 cup carafe. So this actually goes up to 12. That said, that's 5-ounce cups. If you're actually talking about a regular coffee mug for a cup of coffee in the morning, it's closer to kind of 7 or 8 mugs of coffee. Right, so I've got the water, I've got the beans. Here, I'm going to decide how many cups of coffee I want in the carafe, which is kind of cool. So sometimes you want a full carafe, sometimes you don't. So you can adjust that. I can also adjust the strength. I can go down to 2, which is unbelievably weak. I can go up to 8, which is handsomely strong. In the instruction manual it said start at 4, so I started at 4 and I regretted it because it was way too weak. So I think about 6 or 7 is a kind of sweet spot if you like a reasonably strong cup of coffee. If I go all the way down past 1, I can go to pre-ground, which means that in fact if I choose to, I don't have to use the beans from the hopper. I can actually put pre-ground coffee straight into the filter basket. Not sure why I'd want to do that, but you can do that, which is great. So you've got that flexibility. The last button here is auto start, so I can set the time on this so I can make coffee in the morning. You know, I can set it like an alarm to, you know, make the coffee at 7 o'clock or 7:30 or whenever. going back for a moment to the carafe size, actually if I press that, I now have single serve sizes, which means I can take that out and I can make 1 cup at a time. Or I can make a travel mug at the time and think, oh darn, it doesn't fit, so I'll take that out, and now it does fit. So I can take out this little insert in the drip tray and I can make a travel mug. And again, I've got a lot of choice in terms of size. So that's kind of cool. I can use this as a single serve brewer as well. Just a quick thought about that. Is this like the equivalent of a single serve brewer when you have it on that setting? No, it's not, because it's not as fast. Like a single serve brewer uses capsules or some kind of container where water is pushed in under pressure, which reduces the brew time, which means you can get a super fast cup of coffee out of most single serve brewing systems. This remains a gravity fed drip brewer, so it takes time. Incidentally, when you start brewing, there's a timer up the top here, so if you're doing a full carafe, it'll probably say like 7 or 8 minutes. If you're doing a single cup, it'll probably still say about 4 minutes, because you can't speed up the gravity, gravity dragging the water down through the grounds. So let's now have a look inside here. So this is the filter basket. It comes with a gold tone filter. If you don't want to use that, you can use a paper filter, up to you. In fact, if you're going to use this as a single serve brewer, you probably want to use a paper filter because it just makes cleanup that much easier in between. So just on the top here, we actually have two openings, here and here. This is where the water goes through, the top one. This is where the ground coffee comes through. Now let's see if I can get this right. It comes through here, hits this baffle here, drops down. Then the water comes through the top, comes through these grooves here, and then falls evenly onto the ground coffee. Very nice system, actually pretty easy. I like the fact that it comes off. There's no kind of fancy clicking or locking, it just sits there. I can take it out, I can throw out the filter, and I'm good to go for my next one. Well, actually I'll probably rinse the whole thing. So that's that. And I like the fact that it has a thermal carafe and not a hot plate, because I hate it when coffee makers stew coffee with that hot plate. This is a dual wall steel inside and outside. It's not glass inside, so you don't have to worry so much about breakage. And it has a kind of locking top. So that's it. There's probably 1 or 2 extra details I missed out here, but we've had a standalone kind of brewer and a separate grinder here in the kitchen for nearly 2 years now, the exact same machines. We've been using this for a few days now, and I suspect that this is what is now going to stay here for a couple of reasons. One is because it actually takes less counter space and we don't have a huge kitchen. The other reason is, well, we have such control over the amount of coffee we make for the carafe, or if I want an extra cup sometime in the afternoon, I can do it, so I don't have to worry about having a single serve machine as well. So really this does everything, and above all else, it's about the quality of the coffee. You know, when you brew immediately, like within seconds of grinding the coffee beans, if you like your coffee, if you like quality coffee, that is how you extract the very best flavor, by brewing immediately after grinding, and that's what this machine does. So I think for us this is going to be a keeper. I really like it. Okay, thank you. I hope you found that useful.